That's funny. Okay. Let's see here. All right, people. You guys with me? Let's change the title of this. AMC Moass and what else? We'll do AMC Moass and coders welcomed. Everything stocks. All right. So what we're trying to find is the timestamps of actual trades. Where are they? Come on. I can find it on my phone. Why would that not show me the field? How else would I find it? All right, well, I'm just going to explain it to you guys then. So if we just think about AMC, right now, AMC is at 51.91 on this exchange. Now, every other stock is, well, every other exchange is trading at a different per penny ratio. And what we need to understand is that in the market, there is buying and selling, okay? You can either buy a stock or you can sell a stock. I can buy it or I can sell it. Now, every time that you go and you sell a stock, the day that you buy it, it's going to make the price go up. Regardless if it drops and you make a profit and then you go to buy it, you are helping relieve that stock price. So if you're shorting the stock, there's a certain amount of resistance you put against it. It's, in my experience, right now AMC is about as high as it's ever been, and it's at 20% short. I think AMC's got to go up at least to $100 for them to relieve that pressure. If they just completely covered their position and everybody that was shorting the stock just stopped shorting, I think it'd push it to $100 right now. But they won't do that. They'll drop 5% of it, 10% of it, and relieve the stock price to $60, $70, and then we'll continue the battle until we win. If you haven't watched my last video yet, I recommend watching that video. It's about basically because AMC shareholders are retail and they own 80% of all outstanding shares. You guys can vote to where they no longer have Class B preferred shares, so they can't make all these business decisions by themselves. And they got to ask you guys for to vote on everything. And a lot of people would say that would hurt a business because they can't make quick business decisions. But like, You don't need to make quick business decisions to make the right one. And I also recommended that we get a new AMC CEO with our 80% vote. And in order to do that, you guys got to find somebody that has had the stock long enough to submit a proposal to the board to have on a vote for the next voting session for the AMC Class A common stock voters. And so those only come up once every 3 to 6 months, I think. And we got to get on those. And so you need to make it to where those voting shares have full power. That's what I'll say about that. Now, first let's start with the Moass. So if you guys look at an order book means absolutely nothing. We've seen giant orders on an order book where if it filled to 52, a giant order's coming in, and we've seen those giant orders just completely disappear. And so those are more hopium than anything, and I wouldn't watch anybody that's buying after the stock price goes up further. I think that's a waste of time and it has nothing to do with reality. I would be looking for people. Well, so what you got to look at is you got to look at the market orders, the actual filled orders. That's the only thing that matters. So let me show you guys this. If you go to Sun TF, this price has moved zero amount. If we go to, all right, let's do this. Where is markets? We want to see the volume. Where's the volume? Man, it's been so long since I've logged on to E-Trade or anything. Okay, Sun TF. All right. Look at the volume. The volume's zero right now. Look at the price action. The price action's zero. If you come in here and you try to buy, they're 4 cents a share right now, you try to buy probably 1,000 shares, and I don't even think it'll move the price. And so there's a certain amount of volume that it takes to move up a price. And what we're seeing is, so again, if you think about actual stocks filled, that's every time a new buyer comes in. Okay, so somewhere else in the market, somebody's selling. There's going to be a little bit of swing traders in between because AMC has not been a good swing trading stock. Good swing, like if you looked at AMC the last 3 months, it was a great swing trading stock until it began that downfall all the way down to 30. But as soon as it started coming back up, you only see more buyers than sellers. And so the question is, where is the selling coming from? If retail owns 4 million investors own 80% of the shares, where is the selling coming from every time someone sells? And I would argue, since we've already hit 72, all the people that were cashing out in the first wave that bought in real early, $2, $3, $4, $5 a share, like probably lost some right there. But then we still come out owning the stock by wide majority, and we've done nothing but scale up. And so it's clear that the buying pressure is coming in from retail. Every day we own a little bit more. And because the majority of the shares that they have to sell are actually AMC executives, those are like the last shares they have left to sell. And when insiders trade, they got to post it publicly 2 days after they trade. So the question is, are they selling? Have they sold? How much have they sold? And when are they going to sell? Because the AMC CEO just set it up to where somebody else is in charge of his shares, and it's their job and determination to sell if it makes sense to sell. And he set up a cap on his ability to sell to where right now he can sell 90% of his shares and be in compliance. I don't love that. And then if as the stock price goes up, he can obviously sell more percent of his shares. And so how long is he going to wait to sell them? I don't know. right now it looks like AMC is going to march onward, upward. And I'm looking like the big day is the next day that we see that the executives had to post that they sold something. That next big wave of volume that causes that effect, that is going to be a big day. I mean, they might cause one little down spurt, but then as soon as you hear that they're the ones that sold their shares, like that just means it's game over. They're out of ammo. You know what I mean? So, AMC, on a majority of reasons, is the first stock in so many ways to be owned by retail. If we check so one of the most important stats you need to be watching if you're a coder. Let's go to coding real quick. If you think retail buying a stock has an effect on the stock price and that retail can actually go squeeze stocks, the number one factor you should be looking at is dollars invested into the stock in relation to dollars invested into the stock per second. So we want dollars invested in the stock per second. Then we want retail buying, retail selling, and then you probably want to break this out. So there's different types of buying and selling. So there's institution buying, institution selling, and then there's insider buying, insider selling, and then there's probably market maker buying, market maker selling. Now this is probably more coming from the short interest, I would bet. So I bet there's short interest here, short interest here, and then I bet there's even some dumb retail short interest here. In short, I mean, we should probably check all of them. But what you should be more focused on is comparing the stock price movement to the per second per day. So take a per day average of the per seconds and just create a graph that shows as the per second increases on retail buying. And then there's also another thing that we got to watch for: dilution. And so if we're looking at this as every stock instead of just AMC stock, if you were to manage and get a per day average of the per second combined inside all of these different factors, and then you go look at different short squeezes that has happened and just compare the volume. So compare the volume of all these different things, and you're going to see these incredibly spike as these incredibly spike, or you're going to see you're going to see retail buying incredibly spike as the short interest over here incredibly spikes. And you would just be able to take different stocks and you'll see that they all follow the same pattern as they start to go up. And the ones that don't do as well are the ones that get diluted. AMC's like the first one to get diluted and then still rock and roll, but it's because they ended up buying all the shares and then denied dilution vote twice. And as far as I can tell, they're the first stock ever to deny a dilution vote. There's never been a proposed dilution vote that got denied in stock market history than right here. And that's crazy to think about. All right. So I hope that makes sense. That's the first thing that I would do. If I was going to try to have an open mind to all stock market, I would be creating this data and then finding the pattern. And then if you're going to be a really good trader, you would go and you'd find where these patterns are happening, quickly assess where the market, where the company stands. Do they have, how many shares do they have for dilution? Are they talking about dilution? Are they not talking about dilution? How much volume's coming in from retail? Where's the, and then again, if you decipher every pattern, you're going to find different patterns. So when the insider is buying, you're going to find a pattern where it starts to accelerate. Does retail come in 30 days after? But more importantly than finding the patterns of long-term patterns, you're really just looking for when the spikes that tend to almost always cause an increase in stock price, those are what you're looking for. And so as like AMC is just a perfect example, because as the retail buying came in, then we saw the dilution, and we've seen that for 12 straight months of just dilution, and now they're all out of dilution. And so they just set it up to where they defined what they're allowed to sell, and they basically said the insiders are allowed to sell almost everything whenever they want. It's pretty crazy. And so retail buying leads to dilution, which also leads to increases in the stock price, but then leads to heavy short interest. Like you'll find a pattern of AMC story, and just go look at all the stories of all the stocks, and you're going to see which stories pay out all the time. And then when you just set up a alarm system to tell you when that story is repeating itself, and then go look at the CEO in the last prospectus and make sure they don't seem like total jackholes, and you're likely to make money. But because this stream's also about the Moass, we need to understand that AMC being the first of all these things, we need to understand what the Moass is. So let's take a look at AMC. And let's take a look at the options. Because the options is what allows a Moass, okay? So let's see what we got here on. We have 11,800 option contracts on AMC 145 strike. So what does that mean? 11,800 option contracts. If we times that by 100, because they each represent 100 AMC shares, that's 1.1 million, 1,180,000 shares of AMC. And that's just one strike out of the, what is it, maybe there's probably 15 expiration days. 15 expiration days would be probably 50 strikes. It's a lot. So out of 700 strikes, one of them represent this many shares, and I'm sure we could go find way more than this. But what I'm trying to get to a Moass is that one day there is going to be no more shares left to sell in the retail market, and the retail market, after owning every single share, will be able to determine what the floor is for AMC. Okay? So what that means is, as the stock price goes up, if there's no sellers whatsoever, it will literally go from $100 a share to $1 million a share if nobody sells. As soon as one person sells, if there's not a buyer, it's going to drop until there is a buyer. Okay? So, most educated AMC apes, and we need to get everyone educated on this, have some shares and some options. Because here's the deal. Let's say the AMC people hold to, let's just say $10,000 a share. That means they're going to make $9,855 per the 1.18 million shares, which is going to come out to $11,628,900,000. they are able to cash that out of the market maker's bank account with a market order because it's all intrinsic value. And the way the market is set up, they could try to halt the stock market, they could try to do all these things. But AMC is the only stock that's about to own 100% of the shares by retail, and they get to choose the floor. Well, if we're buying 90% shares because we want it to Moass, and then we're putting 10% into the stock or into the option, and you just go find a super safe option, like this one is 1 year to expire. This one, no, 1 year and 3 months to expire, and it's $1,500 for 100 shares. That would normally cost $5,000, and right now it's $1,500. And so, basically, the reason the stock is going to Moass and nobody's going to sell and never crash the price is because we're also buying the options, and we're going to cash out our spending money from here. Everyone should have options and stock in AMC right now. It's the only place where people have come together and won. There's no insider possible dilution vote that could happen. If you believe your other CEO for your other stock is going to hold as everything else goes to zero because there's a lot of options on GME as well, I just don't see it. He would be the #1 most hated CEO on in the world. He would hurt everybody. But this doesn't hurt everybody because everybody can do it together, and it is the people. There's 4 million different people already invested in AMC. People. One day we own every single stock, and then it just skyrockets until people start selling. And I'm telling you, they aren't going to sell for a cheap number. And if I have my way, I'm going to help make sure that they never sell. We don't sell the stock. We got the options, and now the world got to come talk to us and say, all right, you 4 million people are the new richest people on the planet. What do you want to do? There's nothing they can do about it. It's the Great Reset, but it's the people forcing it to happen. And this will be liquid, people. There's no way they can't give you this money, and it's not going to hurt the stock price. They say the average AMC shareholder is 100 shares right now out of 4 million people. It's time to buy at least one option and then go buy some shares. And then you don't know if it's going to happen. It could happen next week. We don't know when it's going to happen, people. But the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. That we do know. Why is my chat not working? Alright, I gotta get to my chat from my phone for some reason. Alright, hang on one second. Let me get here. Alright. This is so the option that we were looking at was January 2023. This is January 2023 right here at the $145 strike. I don't really care for the January 2024 strike because it only goes up to 90. And so if you look at this, it's $27.50 for the $90 strike. But if we come to this $90 strike, it's only $20.95. So $2,700 versus $2,000. And there's no way, like, we just went through so much dilution in the last 9 months, and now their back is against the wall, and they only have, what is it, 50 million shares left? I think it's 50 million shares. No, it might be 100 million. It's 100 million shares is what they have. And we've already gone through how many shares? And so that's all insider trade. Like, that's, I think, including institutions as well. We'll have to look into that. But they said in June that we had 80% of the stock, and there's 4 million holders. So I haven't seen any empirical evidence said other than that said by the CEO. They got 44 million shares, it sounds like. And once the insiders are done trading, there is no one else to trade unless they want to miss the boat. I mean, you think that no, like the vanguards, they all bought more AMC in January, and they said drown out the noise. This is the first March ever to just having the people have a publicly traded company and have the rights to do anything they want to do as their own publicly traded company. There is no limits on how far AMC can go. They can go into the banking industry, they can go into the real estate industry, they can do everything. It's just an umbrella, people. It's an umbrella made by the machine that the people have taken over. And it's the only umbrella in the whole world. Let's go take a look at the rest of the options. So when AMC goes to $10,000, I just showed you. So you see, like, I'm glad that there's not a lot of contracts in 2024 because it just seems like wasted opportunity. Like, you need to be in 2023 at the latest, in my opinion. But let's just go look at all the contracts. So in this one, open interest is what we're looking at. Open interest is the total number of active contracts that people are planning on making money off of. And we see here we got about 15,000, 20,000. Man, there's a lot of open interest. Oh, man. Wow, we got a lot of people to buy these contracts. That's amazing. There's no volume here, people. These are people that have been buying and holding. Buying and holding. Diamond handers. Just millions and millions and millions. Like, this is... Let's see how much this is invested right now. So this is 11,800 contracts. And what was it? It was 1,500 a contract. So let's divide this by... Well, no, let's just do this. 11,800 times that by $1,500. $17 million posted in there right now. It's a lot of freaking money, people. And we just went through all of those. And the higher we went for the more contracts, the more expensive they are. There's literally $50 million sitting in this expiration right now. At least $50 million. Probably 100. Just on that expiration day. So if we do, oh man, and it goes to 10,000 a share, all of that money like all the option profits bleeds society. Like, you guys got to understand, you can claim that AMC's the bad guy and that this is the wrong thing to do and that we shouldn't be trying to bleed society out, but that's exactly what's happening right here. These are all 1,000 apiece. There's 5,000 contracts almost. If we look at all these, there's probably... So this is a newer expiration as well, but there's a lot of contracts on this newer expiration. That's 10,000 contracts, and they're super expensive too. Open interest. Let's see here. It's 5,000 right there. Another 5,000 here. This one's going to have a lot because this one's been building up for a long time now. Got 5,000 there, 22,000 there, 20,000 there, 27,000 there, 10,000 there, 7,000 there, 30,000 there, 2,300 there, 7,000 there, 7,000, 7,000, 12,000, 84,000. That's impressive right there. This 84,000 at 440 a pop. What is that? 84,000. 440 a pop. That's $40 million. That's nice. And these are all individual, like, out of the 4 million people that got stock, at least 100,000 to 1 million got options. At least. And if you ain't in that boat, you need to join. At least an option share. At least one option. Because you don't know when it's going to come. We're on December 21st now. This one is 2,300 on that one. Further side of the money. Oh, no, sorry. There's 31,000 here. And there's 2.3 today. That's amazing. Keep it going. This one's got a decent amount for a new expiration. It's already built up to probably 10, 20,000 on the entire thing. This is a new expiration as well, not much. Looks like we got AMC holders being more conservative now. I like that. They probably took a lot of their profits from the first waves and rolled them out. And they probably cashed out a bunch of profits as well. We got probably 40,000 on this chain at least. Nice. Just a couple thousand on that one. I like it. We're being more conservative. It's the right way to play it, people. We're at the point where we backed them into the wall. We got them to sell all their shares. Now it's just time to coast home. There are not a lot of people that are wasting money these days. I like it. Not a lot of people wasting money these days. Backed them into a wall. Now it's time to finish the trap. I got a job opportunity coming today. And it's basically a job to help people with their business ideas and businesses and like apply for grants, tax preparation, all this other stuff. And it feels like a place I might be able to hustle at. So we're going to see what happens. Let's see here. If I refresh this, will it give me my chat? There we go. All right, guys. So we talked about a little bit of coding and how to rank the stocks. And it's really all just by looking at the volume of actually traded shares. Don't worry about order books. Order books are a total waste of time. It's all about the volume, people. Now I can, like... What else? What else? Oh, I got something I can show you guys. Okay, so the next thing for volume, like this is what AMC built from. And the fact that we built from this and we always increased in stock price and people just stayed in and they keep buying no matter what and they never sell all their shares. Like a lot of people, they probably sold some of their shares when it went up from the $5 after January all the way to $70. I'm sure a lot of them cashed out a lot of shares, but there's still 4 million investors, and we seen that we hit a bottom at 30 and now we're up to 52. And so they know in order for, like, they're going to have to choose a time when the volume spikes again that the insiders will start selling their shares. In the last AMC board meeting or earnings call, they basically announced that they have the right to sell 90% of all their shares all the way across the board for all insiders. And so I expect it to come. Just you wait. And after we beat that, rally of volume. And I think what's happening right now, so it says by law that if an insider trades their shares, that they have to report it after 2 days. And after everything we've seen now, are you guys under the impression that they would... Are you guys under the impression that they would announce every single time that they sold shares? Like, do you think they're above lying about that? I'm not sure yet what I believe. Look at this, people. Waves of volume, and then it dies down. Another wave of volume. We freaking crushed dilution here. We crushed dilution here too. 43 million shares sold right here. Can you believe they diluted right here? They stole our volume right here. But then the next wave of volume came in. Crushed dilution again right here. And then this is when it skyrocketed. And then we come down here, and it looks like we struggled. But through all of this, we still owned 80% of the float. 80% of outstanding shares. I mean, my people. There's only one way this goes. The next wave of volume eventually comes in. And look how long we've been going with low volume. Low volume. Like, this was the time for the swing traders right here. From here all the way to here. If you're swing trading the stock and you don't believe in the Moass, this was your time to dip out. But it was announced July 2nd that we own 80%. You see what I'm saying here? Relatively low volume driving the price up. I mean, we're up 75% in just the last month. It's not about the low volume, it's about the more buying than selling. And there's only so many people out there willing to sell AMC shares right now. It's not a lot. And I'm curious to know where the volume's coming, because if we look at the per second volume right now, the per second volume for total dollar traded into the stock, or number of shares traded is what it really is faster and larger with AMC than any other stock on the market. If you go look at the 1 month average, the 1 week average, all the way across the board, and every single time, what do we find out? More buying than selling from retail and probably institutions, because institution was buying over here for sure. There was tons of CEOs not tons, but there were CEOs going, we just bought 75,000 shares of AMC because what's happening to AMC right now is a travesty. And they basically just crushed us through dilution all the way through this garbage. But now we've found our base support. No more dilution available. Now if they want out, they're kicking themselves out the door. If they sell their shares, ain't nobody want no CEO of AMC running the board for $1 million a year while he freaking owns 10,000 shares, 50,000 shares. Ain't nobody want that guy running their company. So we got to have a vote on a new CEO. And it's 4 million people voting on who the best person is for the job. And it may end up being 5 million by the time we finish this little Moass. This little guy right here, where he's going to go to $1 million a share, and the options are going to take out probably $50 trillion. Let's just see it. If we let AMC go to $1 million a share, which I totally believe it would happen if we didn't sell and we did a real Moass, and we just counted, if we think about, there's at least 1 million option contracts. So if we just counted 1 million option, well, we'll do high theta ones that, like, let's say it takes another 3 months to finally get there. There's probably, let's just say 250,000. So we'll divide this guy by 4. 250,000 contracts. Times that by 100. And then times that by 1 million per share. And it's 100 per option is 100 stock. We got 1 million per share. We get boom, 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 $25 trillion. What did I say? First I said 5 trillion, then I said 50 trillion. It's going to be $25 trillion drained from a society. The total United States debt is $30 trillion right now. And these people are going to be the ones that get a vote. 5 million people with this money get a vote who's in charge of who's the caretaker for AMC stock. And they get to hear everyone else's pitch, and whoever wants to apply, they get to give their pitch. And it'll be a beautiful thing. What else? Let's look at the 1 month. Look at this 1 month. Let's add, I want to pull this out. The 1 month display, add volume, studies. Save. This is the 1 month, people. This volume's misleading. The average last 10-day volume right now is 80 million. But it's separating the buys versus the shares, and it's showing multiple bars throughout one day. Like, this volume is very, very high. If you compare the volume to total outstanding shares not owned by retail from the percent that they owned before the $70 jump and still today, and you only calculate that other volume of people that are trading the stock, I mean, we're talking almost probably 100% of the people trading the stock are like, it's like 100% volume of people that are still trading. I don't think there's more than 80 million shares out there being traded on a daily basis. And every day it drops another 1 million shares. And that's why the price is going up, because they don't want the wrong people to sell right now. So they're trying to see how high they got to let it go before people start selling. But I don't think people are going to sell. I don't think so. Man, AMC has just rallied. Back here. So on the week before August 16th. This was a Monday right here. I think the Thursday or Wednesday before that we hit $29. And this has just been a little bit of volume. Pushes it right up to $38. Somebody sells a little bit. pushes it down to $32. We get a nice chunk of volume. And we go up to $48. Little bit of sellers, go down to 39. A little bit of buyers, go all the way up to 48. Little bit of sellers, go down to 42. And then it's really been like just a lot of selling and buying, but the price keeps going up either way. And not a lot of buying or selling. It's a small amount of buying and selling. And so it feels like the price is just going to keep marching. So let me think about it from this perspective. How many people knew about AMC before January? Not a ton. Not a ton of people, right? How many people knew about AMC after January? Millions of people. How many people, like so many millions that we bought out the company? Then, how many more millions, maybe not even millions, maybe just hundreds, thousands, came and saw what AMC was after the $72 jump? I mean, they're pushing this on Fox News, Fox Business now. Like, think about it, people. So many more millions people know about AMC. The ones that think the government are going to win, I think they're like shorting the stock. And I think there's a lot of stupid retail people out there that just hate what AMC stands for. And they're the ones shorting the stock. I think it's also probably insider trading as well. People know what's going to happen with the stock, and so they're shorting it to make sure it doesn't do that. Yeah. And so, here's the thing. I think what this low buying, low selling, but like consistent gains regardless what's happening. Like, look at this. Look at this giant red bar. And the price is still moving up. And so what's happening, the only thing of an order book that you need to be looking at is transactions traded. So, transactions traded. Limit orders. Below trading price. And then obviously you'd need the short interest. And I think that's it. That's really it. This is the only three things that are going to control stock price right here. These three things. And so your transactions traded is going to be every stock that is bought or sold. Okay? And so what does that basically turn into? What we see is we take this number and then we break it out into these sectors. And when you break it out into these sectors, these transactions traded are going to tell the volume inside the transactions traded is going to tell you who's doing what, right? The limit orders below are going to, is basically, here's what's going to happen. So if there's no buy orders on the book, when the price drops, it's going to fall to that next limit order because there's somebody that's trying to sell. Okay? So if there's no buying and no selling, I already shown you the stock price won't move. If you just search the SUNTF, you'll see it as zero volume and zero price action. So if there's no buying, no selling, it won't move. If there's a buy order, but there's not a sell order, it will move up until there is a sell order. If there's a sell order and there's no buy order, then it'll move down until it hits the next limit order. So if you want to go look at a book and just take those factors and see if you can find patterns inside from one stock to the next stock where you can see the selling going down. And I mean, that's what I'd be looking at if I was going to be trading stocks. And then options is a whole nother game. If I'm going to do options, I'll probably do a whole nother video. I hope so, Void. My birthday's on September 23rd, so if something amazing happened on September 23rd, that'd be pretty up. That would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. I just wanted to watch AMC close. Good old AMC. Stock reliable. Mr. Reliable Stock. I don't know, people. It looks like retail's still buying, and it looks like the insiders aren't willing to trade yet. I want to believe today that we will hear when an insider trades 2 days before or 2 days after they trade. I want to believe that they'll stick by that rule. It is a rule by the SEC that they have to disclose 2 days after they sold any shares. And so I think on the next wave of volume, which I believe is about to come, yeah, something interesting's going to happen. Something interesting. Back in March 2020, it was trading between $7 and $10, and then they used dilution to crush. Well, no, COVID crushed it all the way to $1.85 or $2. It might have been $2 something, and then this is all dilution right here. This is when it went from 100 million shares to. So this was like 100 million to 200 million. And this was 200 million to 400 million. And then this was. No, this is like 450. And then here was the 513. But now they got no more dilution. Now, if anything, they're going to have a CEO insider selling somewhere up here. It can't, like, I don't think the insiders will sell below 72. Does that make sense? So we already went to 72. So, and when that happened, they were selling at 65 or whatever. And now that the stock is on a comeback, I personally don't think that insiders are going to start selling until it goes to a new high. And they can claim to justify it because that's what they love to do. So 70, 80, 90, $100 a share, and then they'll start selling, and we'll have one more battle. That'll be the final battle, and hopefully it doesn't take. If we look at the 1 year, it's like, okay, we hit it, and then it went 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We hit it, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We're about to hit it. And hopefully the next one after it's the insiders and there really is no more dilution, but it's really just the insiders showing that they don't want to make money. And we buy them out and they no longer have representation for the company. Then, like, there's no skin in the game for them in comparison to the stockholders. Then they'll get their boot out the door. And I'm just hoping that after they sell, that it doesn't turn into another 3-month thing before the Moass and we just trade sideways trying to convince the last wave to come in. I'm hoping that this is the last wave. But you never know. I mean, this doesn't look like a lot of volume, but this push right here doesn't look like a lot of volume, right? In comparison to this. But this is because the volumes, or the shares that were traded was a way that the insiders controlled the price action, because so much price was coming in so fast that they had to trade their own shares between each other back and forth to stop the price from going to infinity, because there was just so much more buying than selling. And so that's why the like it traded 1 billion shares in a day when there's only 400 million shares. And that's because there was so much buying that they had to influx shares into the market to hurt the per second per dollar investment going in. If you guys were to analyze the per second per dollar volume going in from retail here, the number that you're going to find is astronomical to the numbers here. And if you look, you'll see that there was massive dilution at the same time. And so basically they were trading a ton of shares and then diluting on top of that to control the stock price. And so yeah, hopefully, like, because this is where the forced dilution happened, it may seem like low volume, but I like to consider this heavy volume because it's what made them dilute to the 400 million shares, and they still own the stock after that. And so this was actually the real battle. If you were in here from May all the way to freaking January of AMC, like, you fought the real war. You forced them to expose their hand, and then this is where basically retail came and exposed that you were right about everything. Yeah, this yearly chart's looking so strong. Oh man, it's a good yearly chart. The 3-month one looks pretty good too. What's the 6-month look like? I like it. Man, they traded us sideways for so long. I freaking hate that crap. There ain't no way this is going back down. This is about to have its Tesla moment right here. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think it is, like, let's look from like society perspective. Let's look and assume that the insiders of AMC are working with the government, basically saying, what should we do? How do we make sure that they don't like crush the world value of everything else with their options by Moassing the stock? And they're like, well, we got to dilute them, and we got to make the stock go crazy, and we got to convince the whole world that it's a scam. That's what I feel like we've gone through in the last 9 months. Now, we basically just weathered the final storm, is what I believe, and they've dropped the price as low as they could go. If we look at the volume here, let's look at the volume for the week of August 15th. Curious to know when we had 10 million shares from June 2nd to June 30th. And no more shares. I like it. All right. We want to go here, and we're looking at August. Right here. So first off, there's still heavy volume leading to the decline. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because every share that was traded, all these millions of shares that there was a seller, there was also a buyer. So I don't mind this at all. But when we hit 28.91, look at this. No 100 million volume, no 100 million volume. Boom, we hit 108 million in volume. So I think they hit at such a low price, $28.91, that the volume went down to 50 million, up to 61, up to 85, up to 108. The whole time the price is crashing. And it hits 108 and it starts to increase. Then there's a little bit of volume the next day. It just trades sideways. But then look, more volume, more volume. And the price is just increasing. Then after the price goes all the way up to 40 and then back down to 34, what happens? 200 million of volume. 200 million of volume. 100 million of volume. What happened to the price? Up, 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 and then down. Somebody was selling to hurt the stock price. But now we see the volume going down as the price continues to skyrocket. And skyrocket might be exaggerated a bit. But what I'm getting at is typically these types of days were leading to trade sideways or down. But now we're even getting a little bit more volume the last week. I mean, this wasn't bad volume in the last week, but the week before that we kind of slowed down. I don't know, people. I just see, if I'm the insiders, if I'm the government, and let's say I'm the government and I control the insiders, and I'm saying, what do we do? What do we do? Well, I already played out my game plan the last 9 months, and I think the fact that they can't dilute anymore is proof that they lost that plan, and they thought they were going to get ownership back of their company, and that they were going to find a way to do something. And I still think they got one more play to offer, one more plan of how they can bring value if you guys add more shares to the market. And ultimately, I think the stock price is going to keep going up. So again, it's not about what I would do. It's about what they would do. Do you guys think, now that they know they can't dilute any more shares, now that they're seeing more buying pressure come in from retail and not retail leaving as the price goes up, do you think it's their plan to let it go to 2,000? I mean, do you guys think people are going to sell at 100? I don't think so. I think more buyers come in when it gets to 100. And I think maybe some people sell some of their shares when they got to go buy a car or they got to upgrade their house and something like that, but they're still holding for what it... The AMC stock price is proof that this is about holding and causing pain and never selling and letting the next people join the wave. And every time you make a little bit more than the last time. And so, if they can't print any more shares, if they're out of options to dilute the shares, and every time that they sell their shares, they got to post something about it 2 days later, do you think they're going to exhaust any other final resource that they can and then hold out as long as they can before the insiders start selling? Do you think they're going to let it squeeze and then the insiders sell at 2,000 and try to crash the price again? Or do you think that they're going to sell 100,000 shares every single week to keep the price trading sideways and a little bit up and a little bit up, and they just keep bringing in as many volume as they need to in order to keep the price from exploding? I'm asking you because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what... They already tried the squeeze and let's try to shake them off thing. Do you think they'll try it again? And if they do, you guys, if it goes to 2,000, you guys are making billions of dollars as a community. Probably $100 billion through all the options and stocks. And so if they let it go to 2,000 and it trades sideways for a little bit, and then would they then use the 20 million shares to try to crash the market? Or are they going to assume that at this point you guys aren't leaving, and are they going to basically use all of their shares right now and sell them as slow as possible and manipulate the price as much as possible until they run out and not tell you that they're selling? Do you think that they're selling already and they're just not telling you? I don't know. Are they gonna let their price increase to $2,000 a share before they sell, or are they going to sell and not tell us, or have they not sold yet and are gonna start selling soon and then tell us? And they're just going to be comfortable with telling people that they're selling out of their own company that they supposedly represent. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Because I'm not sure which way that's going to go. But there's no way they're dropping the price to $30 with their shares. Because they saw when they did that, the volume, I mean, this was just when it went up to 40. So when it went up to 40 something and then down to 36, there's 200 million shares. 200 million shares. More buying than selling, people. Every single time. From the retail. And the retail already owns the float. And now we're just adding how, like, we need somebody creating a simple coding program that just adds up all the retail per day, how much of the entire outstanding shares do they own, and basically have it be the Moass countdown. Somebody go to Astro and tell them to create the Moass countdown with retail shares versus outstanding shares versus institutional shares, and every day create a little platform of what days was positive on retail, what days was negative on retail, and what's the net for the week, what's the net for the month, what's the net for the last 9 months. Let the freaking data tell the story. When I see AMC or GME go up higher than AMC, it always makes me laugh. GME ain't the way, people. You cannot trust the insiders that own the ability to dilute more shares without the vote of GMEers. There is no phantom shares. There are no phantom stocks. AMC is the proof that they can only control a price so much without more dilution. GMEers out there believing out of their 70 million shares that there's actually 4 billion shares that have already been purchased by GME and that they're just hiding the data. That's not what's happening. We have a good movement. We have a large movement, but the movement still needs to get larger. But we're at the final boss. Like, this has got to be it. So we're either going to march up for the next 3 months as they secretly sell all their shares and not tell us, and then one day it just magically Moasses after getting 5 to 10% every single week, or they're not going to, hold on, or they're going to let it squeeze to 2,000 and try to shake people off one more time. And if it squeezes to 2,000 and you have the options right now, you need to be prepared to take half of that and buy shares. You need to be prepared to finish the Moass. There was so much manipulation that went on through this event. And every single time AMC came out owning more shares. More money, more shares, all the way up. I personally think that the Fed is talking about tapering and all this other stuff. And the AMC, they're going to sell all their shares. I feel like it all happens at the same time. And so it feels like a giant large wave of volume, and then things get interesting. That's all it takes, one more wave of volume, and we'll see who's selling. And once those people sell, we'll see who's corrupt and who's not. Okay, but Gabe Plankton, if the same game happens, that means you think volume's going to come in, which is going to raise the stock price to 110 or 120. And in order to get to 110 and 120, people have to be selling right now, or people have to sell at 110 and 120. And so my question to you, do you think they're just going to let it go to 110 or 120 and all at once? Or do you think that they're going to keep selling their shares to create a wall that makes us have to climb up over a long period of time? Because if it goes to 110, 120, why would it, like, why would... I could see you saying that it goes to 110, 120, and then some AMCers sell out. But do you think AMCers are going to sell out if they didn't sell at 72 and they bought in at 30, and the ones before that didn't sell at 72, and then new ones came in and bought in at 30 and below? Like, who's going to sell at 120? I don't really think anyone's prepared to sell at 120. Again, I could see somebody that, like, if you start at $12 or you start at $30 and you get to 70, I could see people taking out a quarter of their investment, a third of their investment, half of their investment. But every time it runs up, we get more news and we get more people listening and more people watching. Like, why has Trey stopped going on Fox News and stopped pushing AMC? It seems like they don't want volume to come into AMC. Trey has gotten real soft and quiet about AMC all of a sudden, and I don't understand it. AMC's never looked better, and he's just like over YouTube all of a sudden. Why is he talking about options so much? The only options that matter are the AMC options. Get back on Fox News, fool. What's going on here? I don't know. When they get quiet, the price tends to go up. That much I feel like I do know. When they get quiet, the price goes up. Alright, I just want to watch AMC price close and then I'm going to log off. We got 14 more minutes. Any questions? Like, stocks are so simple, people. There's nothing to it. There's only a few metrics that actually measure. Oh, the one thing I said I was going to show you guys that I haven't shown you guys. Here it comes. Check this out. So, obviously, I'm a believer in AMC, and I don't see the purpose of doing it all over again. But if you are somebody that has $50 million or $10 million, let me show you what you can do. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. All right, people. I'm going to show you a list of stocks that I went through. And I marked the ones that I thought had potential. All right, so check this one out. The market cap, let's take a look at it on E-Trade. I'm going to look at my phone and just tell you what, like, make sure it still matches up. The market cap of ABIO. Alright, we got a market cap right now of 43 million. So this price has actually dropped since I looked at it. $43 million market cap. There are... Cost to hit 100... Okay, so if we go to options and you look at... If we look at the, let's just say 32 days to expire options. So I'm going to go ahead and go to E-Trade for this. So if we go, I'm going to pull this guy here, and then I'm going to pull this guy here. And we're going to do ABIO. And we're on the options. So this is 95 days to expire. And what you'll see is they're 25 cents they're $25 a contract, right? So if I have a 45 million market cap, I don't know why this thing wouldn't show me. Let's see here. How do I get ABIO, like, just basic info? I hate that it doesn't give me the information. Like, only my phone gives me... Let's see if it's on here. It's really dumb. Okay. Well, we know that the market cap is at 45 million right now, because I looked at it on my phone. So if we go to 45 million and we divide that by $3, we get 15 million. So that means there's 15 million shares in the ABIO Biopharma. Okay? So if we have 15 million shares and it costs $25 for that option that expires in 97 days, that means it'd take $375 million to create 100% gamma on... Hold on. Did I do that right? So there's a 45 million. There's a 45 million market cap. We divide that by 3. Because every option is 100 shares, we divide that by 100. Then we times that by the 25. And it would cost $3.75 million to put ARC at 100% gamma. Okay, so if you're like, what I'm showing this for is to give you an idea of if AMC didn't exist, what would be the best way to squeeze another stock. And I believe that you start with the gamma and then you go and you buy the stock. So if it's only $3 a share right now and we just bought at $7.50, the question is, how many shares do I got to buy to send it above $7.50? And if there's 15 million shares, $45 million market cap, the idea is to get it not above 50 but above $7.50. And so if we can buy the options for $3.75 million at the $7.50 strike, then if we get it to $10 a share, if we can push the price from $3 to $10, our $10 million, or sorry, the $3.4 million that we invested, so at the $7.50 strike from $10.50, it would be $2.50 per contract of intrinsic value, and this cost us 0.25. So you're able to 10x your money that you invested into the ARC options. So your 4 million is now 43 million. And the question is, how many shares did you have to buy of this $3 share to get it to $10? And right now the whole company is based at 45 million. So if you just bought every single share that exists on the market for $45 million and then you never sold a share, it would only have to go to $10 for you to cash out the option value of everything that for the 4 million to grow into the 40 million. But if you then go do $10 million in there, then you could throw the 40 million into the ARCA in the stock after you threw the 10 million in the option, cash out the 10 million option for 100 million, and still just hold on to your $40 million that you threw into ARCA and not even sell those. And the question is, how many shares would they have to sell you versus how much you have to buy to get it to $10 a share? And it all depends on how much they're willing to sell. Based off AMC, it looks like they're willing to sell their freaking grandma. So I don't know which company to trust. I don't know which thing to do. Now, one thing that I'll show you that's interesting. I'm going to have to look at it on my phone, I think. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so if we do... Ooh, look at this one. Let's do Acor. So Acor, if we look at my thing right here, has a market cap of 36 million a few months ago. Has the price gone up or down? Let's see the 3-month. Price gone crazy on this. What is this nonsense? Oh no, it hasn't gone that crazy. Oh, this is not what I clicked on. That's weird. There we go. All right. So it was as high as $5 at $4.68. What is my thing say? Okay. So there's 36 million market cap, roughly, and the price hasn't changed much since I looked at this. And so if we take 36 million market cap and we divide it by the $5 that it's trading at right now, you get 7.2 million shares. If we divide that by 100, you get 72,000 option contracts. If we go and we look at Acor options, we see 10-cent contracts with 32 days to expire. And so you'd have to, like, it'd be hard to lead a movement if you don't already have a fat stack of money to throw at this and show people you're committed and stuff. But basically, at $10 a piece, it only costs $720,000 to get it at 100% gamma, to have 72,000 option contracts. And then from here, if it's at the $10 a piece at the $8 strike, we just got to get this to 100% to get at the money. And as soon as it gets to $8.10, we've broken even. If it gets to $9, we made 10x our money. $10, we made 20x our money. $11, we made 30x our money. $12, 40x our money. And if you come in here and buy at the $5 a share, they only have a few million, like a million shares total. Or what was it? It was $5 divided by, so it's 7 million shares total. So, I mean, if you like, just think about it, people. This is how you squeeze a stock. The last one that I wanted to go over, which I think played out the best, was these indexes they have. Let me go find one of these indexes. Oh, there's a good one right here. This is a really good one. Only $52,000 to get to 100% gamma. Trying to find the gold one. I was just going through and searching every single option chain that had potential, and I wrote down the ones that I thought had good potential for a squeeze. Look at this Croc one right here. Let's go check Croc real quick. Look at this one, $54. So 32 days to expire, $54 strike. Not even 20% out of the money, and it's 10 cents a share right now. That's wild. Almost no volume, zero price action today. And if we come back here and look at this guy. So there's only 50,000 outstanding shares. The market cap's 2.2 million. There's 50,000 outstanding shares. Because if you take the 52,000 and 50,000 and times it by the $43 stock price, you get the 2.1 million. And we got 30 days to expire, $10 option contracts, and it would cost $17,500 to get full gamma. And then there's only $2.2 million. Like, there's only 50,000 shares. So if you come and buy this and you shoot it up to $100 a share, you would turn this $10 contract into 50 times its money. My people, if we just had a platform, we could get enough people to come and do this real quick and then take all that money to AMC. Like, if only we had the platform. No, the short interest does not have to. The buying is what creates the squeeze. It isn't like the short interest hurts the stock, but the buying is what creates the squeeze. And the squeeze, like, if you don't want to squeeze the short people, you can squeeze the option market. And so we're just doing a gamma squeeze rather than a short squeeze. And it's about cashing out 100 times your option value than what you ever put in the stock, because we put 20% of our money in the options, the rest of our money in the stock, and it skyrockets the price until we cash out our options, which are always liquid. And if they try to make them not liquid, then it would be the most illegal thing ever. Like, they can halt the market for 5 minutes, but if we bought the stock that sent the price up, what can they do? And I just showed you a stock where it's so little money to do it. Like, all we need is $10 million as a group of people, and we could literally go make $100 million tomorrow. And it probably wouldn't even be $10 million. I'm probably exaggerating that number. The market cap's $2 million, people. If you throw in another $2 million, if we go buy every single share for $2 million, what do you think's going to happen? It's going to double in price at least. If only. All right, guys. AMC closed. How to close? Let's see. Nice. Up 3%. Good for AMC. What was the volume? 74 million? I like it. 75 million. Another good day. The problem is these stocks aren't going to skyrocket. These little stocks that I'm showing you aren't going to skyrocket until unless you have the volume to come in and buy it, because right now there's no volume going into any of these stocks. And so if you have the volume, then you could go squeeze it yourself. Or if we were a platform and we all agreed to do it together, then that's another option. But yeah, there's definitely lots of opportunity, people. AMC's the way. If we can get a platform big enough to go squeeze one opportunity and come back and finish what AMC started, that would be fantastic. But you guys got to somehow help me find a way to get out there. What up, Charlie? How you doing, brother? I just went over some new DD that I never shared before about certain stocks that could be easily squozen with a very small amount of money. It's what I thought we were all leading to when I thought AMC was going to squeeze, but AMC got us. It's okay, though. I know a lot of you guys are still in it to win it, and I know that it's hard to tell the difference between what's FUD and what's not FUD, and so all you do is buy and hold, but there are some answers out there. There are ways to share the AMC story that will make people listen. The problem is where everyone thinks they're supposed to go to find that AMCDD, they're getting manipulated by people that aren't really in favor of the stock. It's okay, though. We're going to find a way. AMC's already marching. Something good is about to happen. I don't care if it's 1 week or 3 months. The world is about to change. I can see it coming. And I think AMC's ability to have the umbrella of all the 4 million people that just own the ability to already be a publicly traded company and be what it needs to be and go in any direction possible if they have the right CEO. AMC is the place to be. And we need to have a vote on who is the best for AMC CEO. And everyone needs to throw their hat into a ring, and AMC executives need to create a website that allows everyone to sign up as a potential CEO. Maybe even offer, like, make it be a buy-in, $100 to submit your name or some crap. And there needs to be debates, and there needs to be a platform just for that. And all 4 million investors would be researching who's the best CEO, and everyone gets to make their own little, like, connection with videos and all this other stuff, information about what they would do, submit their business plan. That's what needs to happen with AMC for AMC to finish this. But you guys can keep buying. That'll do it too. It'll be okay. All right, guys. Good job, AMC, today. Just another day of gains. It's what AMC do. This is the last month, people. The last 30 days. AMC's up 70%. That's something to be proud of. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by.